The sun-drenched plains of Solaris shimmered with golden wheat, a sight that filled the hearts of its people with pride and hope. The golden hue of the fields was a symbol of the kingdom's wealth and the hard work of its farmers. Fields stretched as far as the eye could see, a testament to the kingdom's prosperity. The endless expanse of wheat was not just a source of sustenance, but also a representation of the kingdom's stability and growth. Solaris thrived on order, on the unwavering rule of law and the radiant lineage of its kings. The royal palace, bathed in sunlight, stood as a beacon of justice and governance, where every decree was made with the kingdom's welfare in mind. Yet beyond the eastern mountains, a perpetual twilight cloaked the kingdom of Umbria. The mountains formed a natural barrier, casting long shadows over the land and creating an air of mystery and foreboding. Its people, forged in the crucible of hardship, whispered tales of ancient magic and the silent strength of the forest. The dense woods were not just a source of timber and game, but also a place where the old ways and ancient spells were still remembered and revered. For generations, their borders had been painted with blood. The battle-worn lands bore silent witness to countless skirmishes, each one leaving its mark on the soil and the souls of those who fought. Each sunrise seemed to bring a fresh tale of border skirmishes, of villages razed and lives lost. The cycle of violence was relentless, with each new day bringing fresh sorrow and loss to the people of both kingdoms. The very names of their rulers, King Alaric of Solaris and Queen Isolde of Umbria, were uttered with a mix of fear and reverence. Their reigns were marked by strength and determination, each ruler embodying the spirit and resolve of their respective kingdoms. Their enmity was as ancient as their kingdoms, a deep-seated feud fueled by pride and mistrust. The rivalry between Alaric and Isolde was not just personal, but also a reflection of the historical animosities that had long divided their lands. War had become a grim rhythm of life. The clash of armies and the cries of the wounded were as familiar as the changing seasons, a constant reminder of the fragile peace that hung by a thread. It was a song of clashing steel and dying screams, a dirge that echoed through the generations. Neither side sought peace. The warriors of both kingdoms fought with a fierce determination, each convinced of the righteousness of their cause. Neither side could imagine a world where their bitter rivalries ceased to exist. The idea of peace seemed as distant and unattainable as the stars in the night sky. The very thought was as alien as the stars themselves. The night sky, with its countless stars, served as a silent reminder of the vastness of the universe and the smallness of their conflicts. Only the mountains stood aloof, silent witnesses to the endless dance of war. The towering peaks, shrouded in mist, seemed to watch over the kingdoms with an indifferent gaze. They offered no judgment, no solace. The mountains were eternal, unchanging, and indifferent to the struggles of the kingdoms below. They simply existed, eternal and impassive, as the kingdoms below tore themselves asunder. The mountains, with their timeless presence, stood as a stark contrast to the fleeting lives and endless conflicts of the people who lived in their shadow. Prince Eryndor of Solaris, heir to a legacy of sunlight and steel, was all that his kingdom expected him to be. Tall and broad-shouldered, he stood as a beacon of hope and strength for his people. His presence commanded respect and admiration, a living embodiment of the ideals his kingdom cherished. His eyes shone with the same golden light that bathed his homeland, a reflection of the sun's eternal embrace. This light was not just a physical trait, but a symbol of his connection to Solaris, a land blessed by the sun's favor. He was trained in the arts of war from a young age, becoming a master swordsman, with a mind as sharp as his blade. His training was rigorous, designed to forge not just a warrior, but a leader. But beneath the polished armor and the princely facade, Eryndor possessed a rare quality: compassion. This compassion set him apart, making him a beloved figure among his people.
I may be a warrior, but my heart beats for peace. This sentiment was not just a personal belief, but a guiding principle in his actions and decisions.
Across the chasm of war, Princess Celeste of Umbria was as different from her enemy as night from day. Her beauty was the stuff of legends, a beacon of hope and inspiration for her people. She was not just a figurehead, but a symbol of resilience and grace. Her dark hair, like a raven's wing, flowed gracefully, a stark contrast to the golden hues of Solaris. Her eyes shimmered with the silver glow of a moonlit forest, reflecting the mysteries and depths of her homeland. She was schooled in diplomacy and subterfuge, skills that were essential in navigating the treacherous waters of political intrigue. A mistress of whispers and shadows, she moved with a grace that belied her strength. Yet beneath her cool exterior, a fire burned, a fierce love for her people and a yearning for peace. This fire drove her to seek solutions beyond the battlefield, to find a way to end the cycle of violence.
I will do whatever it takes to bring an end to this senseless conflict. Her determination was unwavering, a beacon of hope for those who longed for peace.
Their first meeting was a clash of ideals, a whirlwind of suspicion and guarded words. They met on neutral ground, a desolate stretch of land between their warring kingdoms. The air crackled with tension, the silence broken only by the flapping of banners in the wind. This barren landscape, devoid of life, mirrored the emptiness they felt in their hearts. They were leaders, burdened by the weight of their people's expectations, yet they were also individuals, seeking a way to bridge the divide. The desolate stretch of land between their warring kingdoms was a stark reminder of the cost of conflict. The air crackled with tension, the silence broken only by the flapping of banners in the wind. He saw her as a cunning adversary, a threat to his kingdom's security. The banners, symbols of their respective kingdoms, flapped in the wind, a silent testament to the ongoing struggle. He saw her as a cunning adversary, a threat to his kingdom's security. His mind was filled with the stories of her cunning and the tales of her people's resilience. He was wary, cautious, and ever vigilant, knowing that one misstep could lead to disaster. She saw him as a proud warrior, blinded by tradition and the thirst for conquest.
Can we ever trust each other? This question hung in the air, a challenge and a plea for understanding.
She saw him as a proud warrior, a symbol of the very forces she sought to overcome. His armor, gleaming in the sunlight, was a stark contrast to the shadows she navigated. Blinded by tradition and the thirst for conquest, he represented the old ways, the cycles of violence that had plagued their lands for generations.
Are we doomed to repeat the mistakes of our ancestors? This question echoed in her mind, a reminder of the stakes they faced.
Yet, as the seasons turned and diplomacy wove its intricate dance, something shifted between them. They discovered common ground, a shared love for their people, a deep respect for their respective cultures. They began to see beyond the labels of enemy and adversary, glimpsing the human beings beneath. Their meetings became more than just negotiations. They were opportunities to understand each other's worlds. They shared stories of their homelands, their dreams and their fears. They discovered that their differences were not insurmountable, but could be the foundation for a new understanding. They began to see beyond the labels of enemy and adversary, glimpsing the human beings beneath. They found joy in each other's traditions, celebrating the richness of their cultures. These moments of connection were small but significant, planting the seeds of trust and friendship. Glimpsing the human beings beneath, they realized that peace was not just a distant dream, but a possibility within their grasp. Their journey was far from over, but they had taken the first steps towards a future where their people could coexist in harmony. Their fragile trust was tested. The alliance, once a beacon of hope, now teetered on the edge of collapse. A shadow fell over their burgeoning alliance, an attempt on Eryndor's life. The once bright future now seemed shrouded in darkness. The assassin struck in the dead of night, a whisper of blades in the dark. The silence of the night was broken by the sound of steel and the rustle of cloaks. Eryndor, saved by his own skill and a healthy dose of luck, emerged wounded but alive. His survival was a testament to his prowess, but it came at a cost. The would-be killer, cloaked in the black of Umbrian night, escaped. Suspicion poisoned the air. Every shadow seemed to hide a potential traitor. The court of Solaris erupted in fury, demanding retribution. The once peaceful halls now echoed with cries for justice and vengeance.
This cannot go unanswered. We must show them the strength of Solaris.
Eryndor, nursing his wounds and his bruised pride, found himself torn. The weight of leadership pressed heavily on his shoulders. He could not silence the whispers that blamed Umbria, the whispers that fanned the flames of war. Every conversation seemed to carry an undercurrent of mistrust. His advisors urged him to retaliate, to unleash the might of Solaris upon their enemies. They spoke of honor, of duty, and of the need to protect their realm.
We must strike now, while the iron is hot. Delay will only embolden our enemies.
Celeste, horrified by the attempt on Eryndor's life, proclaimed her innocence. Her voice trembled with genuine fear and desperation.
I swear, I had no part in this treachery. I will find the true culprit. My honor demands it.
But her words rang hollow in the ears of the Solaris court. Doubt had already taken root, and it was not easily dispelled. The seed of doubt had been sown, and it took root in the fertile ground of fear and anger. Every gesture, every word was scrutinized for hidden meanings. The fragile bridge of trust, painstakingly built over months of tense negotiations, crumbled. The foundation of their alliance was now in ruins. The spectre of war, which had momentarily retreated, loomed larger than ever, casting a long and ominous shadow over both kingdoms. The future was uncertain, and the path ahead fraught with peril. As the armies of Solaris prepared for the inevitable conflict, the air was thick with tension. Every soldier knew the stakes, and every heart beat with a mix of fear and determination. In the council chambers, debates raged on. Some called for immediate action, while others urged caution, fearing the consequences of a hasty decision. Eryndor stood at the precipice of a decision that would shape the future of his kingdom. The weight of his choices bore heavily on him, but he knew that he could not waver. Meanwhile, Celeste sought solace in prayer, hoping for a sign that would guide her through the storm. Her faith was her anchor in these turbulent times. As the dark clouds gathered, a single ray of hope pierced through, reminding them all that even in the darkest of times there is always a glimmer of light. With banners flying and hearts steeled for the trials ahead, the Knights of Solaris rode out, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. The Shadow of Betrayal had cast its pall, but the spirit of Solaris remained unbroken.